Welcome back to another Blacktastic episode of the People Before Politics show, Sunday Rundown, powered by Black Westchester Magazine. I'm your host, Damon K. Jones, joined by my brother, AJ Woodson, and bringing that fresh perspective, Larne Kensey. Every Sunday, we pull back the curtain on the issues shaping our families, our cities, and our future, from health and safety to policy and power. It's because our mission is simple. Put the people first, not the politics. It's going to be Blacktastic. Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today. Rep the movement. Get your official Black Westchester merch today. Hoodies, tees, and more at blackwestchestermerch.shop. Where your voice make a statement. Damon K. Jones exposes the lies and challenges the gatekeepers in Black politics in his powerful book, Emotional Politics and Logical Failure. Black America needs fewer emotions and more outcomes. Our communities deserve better. On sale now, get the book or audiobook on Amazon. From the streets of Westchester to the heart of hip-hop, discover A.J. Woodson's powerful collection. Black Westchester, the origin story. We got our own thing. Hip-hop from the 9, 1, 4, and Black Westchester celebrate Black women of Westchester. Available now at blackwestchester.com and on Amazon. Get your copies today. Tolerance is for Cowards by Damon K. Jones. This book is not anti-police, it's pro-community. Discover how the extended policing strategy empowers you to demand real public safety, justice, and accountability from your local police department. Because the Black community deserves good policing. On sale now on Amazon and Audible. Discover Jesus and Divine Black Masculinity by Damon K. Jones. This a bold blueprint to restore faith, manhood, and purpose in Black America. Because the Black community needs good Black men. Available now on Amazon. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Big thank you for the Super Chat support. We appreciate your help in keeping the conversation and independent Black media strong. Black Westchester, it's the news with the Black point of view. It's Blacktastic.
Yo! Welcome to the show. Welcome to another show.
Hey, Westchester.
Yeah, the Sunday Rundown. We have a great show for everybody tonight. We're discussing. We're gonna have conversations in and out of. We're gonna talk about the growing backlash to American foreign policy with Israel. A lot of things is going on after that, and poor Nicki Minaj. She just got attacked again by Mark Lamont Hill about her stance for Christians in Nigeria. Mayor Mike Spano makes a bold business pitch to New York City corporations, and hopefully we'll get Mayor Mike Spano on in the near future to talk about that, because I think it's a genius move. Letitia James fraud case is dismissed on a technicality. And what does that mean? And the alleged assassination plot against the world's #1 podcaster, Candace Owens. I'm look, we'll get into that. Whether you like her or not, we will have a discussion on freedom of speech. And if freedom of speech is really free, that's and welcome my sister. Larne Kensey is here. AJ is on vacation. AJ is on vacation. He's having a great time, well deserved as everything. So what's going on, my sister? How are you?
I'm doing amazing. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was great. My son came up, and we had some tequila, some gummies, and it might sound weird, right? My son is 37 years old, and the greatest time we always have is having some drinks and watching DC cartoons. Yo, he's like a big kid. He's like, yo, Dad, which one we gonna watch tonight? And we watch, it's like we watch the same ones like all year long. We like, yo, which Batman cartoon you want to watch? Which one you want to watch? And we just sit, no matter how, like that has been me and my son's thing since he was little. Like we would just get together and sit down. Now he's older, so we drinking and having fun, but we always just sit back and be like, yo, which one we gonna watch? Which Batman cartoon we gonna watch? And two big grown men sitting back watching Batman cartoons. Now we falling asleep on them.
It's watching y'all.
Exactly. That was, I made some lobster tails and some corn and some shrimp. We did it a little different. We did it a little different, and we hung out. We spent the night, and he left in the morning.
Well, this was the first year that I didn't hear a whole bunch of greens, beans, tomato, potato. Everybody was sitting at the table eating their food because they thought they wasn't gonna have no Thanksgiving, so they was cherishing that food. I saw everybody eating.
Exactly. Exactly. Because when the government shut down, it was like, "Ooh, what's going to happen Thanksgiving?" It was definitely rough, man, and it's great that everybody was thankful. Everybody was thankful. So hopefully we go into the new year still being thankful, So how yours was good?
Yeah, mine was good. My daughter does Thanksgiving at her house. We do it Friendsgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, it was beautiful. My grandson was there. He opened up with the prayer. He's 4. It was
Really?
beautiful. Yes. He started it. Thank you for this food in the hands that yes.
Okay. Okay.
We did a little cooking. I did a little work.
You got a little pastor there.
He's something. I don't know, but we making sure his toolbox is completely full at 4.
Good. Well, no. That's what we listen. I think that's very important that we understand it's our responsibility to make sure our children's toolboxes are full to have filling, purposeful life. Like we got to do it. Like we can't wait on the government. We have to do it ourselves, and because it's the time that we live in. We have to take that responsibility up, and we can't let society get us so busy that we forget our kids. Like the stories that I hear, is just parents being too busy, and their children get caught up in the foolishness. Even 2-parent households. We just say, well, it's a single mother and blah blah blah. No, 2-parent households, their children is wilding out like they don't have parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's insane. That's literally insane. I used to take my son didn't start getting into trouble till after he graduated.
Well, I'm sure you taught him what good attention is, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes your parents are working, and when you get in trouble is the only time you actually getting attention from them.
Oh no, listen, I was different. Even the principal told me one day in school I was different, you know, because I worked midnights most of his life. So I would pop up at the school and ask for the principal. And he's like, "What are you doing here, Mr. Jones?" I just want to see how my son doing. He was like, "Well, he's not in trouble." Okay, I just want, you know. And through high school, every teacher had my cell phone number. So they knew. He started acting up. And they were like, "Listen, you want me to call your father?" One teacher, he was like, "You ain't got his cell phone number." She said, "Oh." And taught him a lesson. Like, I made that clear. So he didn't start wilding out, feeling his oats till after he graduated. And then he went down to Morgan State and he started messing up, you know. But he understands now. So, you know, I mean, I went through that. We all go through that period in time, you know, when we just don't listen.
You got me scared now because I ain't go through that period yet with my daughters, and I got 5, and 4 of them is in their 20s.
Well, no, listen, God bless. God bless. I went through it. I went through it, but I was just so scared. Like, my mother had me to the point that I did a lot of stuff. But my whole thing was, if my mother knew, I'd have been crushed, right? Just as she knew. So I tried to, then I just understood it was just time to leave it alone, right? And
I used to just pop up everywhere for my kids. Like, when my older daughters were in junior high school, in high school, I was working in a group home. Group home got vans. I was pulling up to the classroom, standing there.
Absolutely.
What you doing?
Absolutely. Well, I was one of the, see, back then I was what they call it, a latchkey kid. You know, I would come home from school and be in the house by myself. That was normal. Wear the little key around my neck, come home. Until I got 15, I started working because my mother wasn't buying me the mock necks and the shell toe Adidas and the Royal Pro-Ceds and all that other stuff that was out there. You know, so I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken on Central Avenue from 14 years old all the way till I graduated. So, you know, that was, and at that time, the brother name was Milton Lawton. And he rather than us be there than be out in the street. So it was almost like a community center that you got paid, that you got paid, right? And that's why I met my son's mother at, right? That's why I met my son's mother. We all worked there. We all worked there, and there were some brothers from Mount Vernon, Earl, and I can't remember the other brother's name. They were managers, and they introduced us to the disco fever. And I'm 15 years old, 15. Got my little leather outfit on. I used to call my mother and say, "Hey, Mom, I'm going out with Earl and them." She said, "Oh, okay." She said, and I said, "We're coming right back here in the morning and we're going to open up the store." My mother was like, "Earl on the phone." So he'll, you know, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." You know, he get the orders, right? And we used to go. I used to be in the disco fever at 15 years old. And then we catch the train back up, change our clothes, put our Kentucky Fried Chicken outfit on, and cook for the day. That was crazy. but it wasn't shooting and killing and all that stuff back then like it is now. It was a whole different era. That's why I feel for these kids. Hey, Brother John, this is where you just can't pop up at school anymore. Even though I believe you should be able to, as long as you're not causing a problem. The issue is kids should have a healthy fear of their parents. And these kids have no fear today. No, they don't. No, they don't. We got to put them, we have to put the fear in them. But that society with the laws and you can't touch a kid and all that other crazy stuff. Listen, my son tried that one time. I'm going to call CPS if you hit me. Wow. And told him to call CPS. And told him, I put the smallest sweatsuit on him. I said, that's what you take it with you. Everything else is going. Yo, they try that, and I mean, we have to have a fear. The scriptures tell us they should have a fear of God and a fear of their parents, and respect for their parents.
Oh,
I have a healthy balance. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My son does. My son did too. He still does. I mean, once you put it in them, it stays. Look, even my mother in her old age, I felt her. She used to hit me with bats. I used to come. She'd be like, I want you to come in at 2:00. All right. Yeah. 4:00 come. I come in a dark house and get hit with something. But, I mean, you have to have that respect. But we talked about it like parents, they just so caught up in society right now and caught up in trying to live. It's really hard. I really feel for a lot of these parents, man, that they have to spend time with their children. But we got away with it. A lot of times we don't even cook. We don't even have dinner, anymore. Everybody's sitting around at the table.
We don't even communicate.
The cell phone, everybody like this. The whole thing is like this. Nobody's talking. Nobody. I don't know. Like I really don't know how we gonna fix it. Yo, dude, man, like you talking a lot. You should have just come on the show. He put up all these comments and said, you just come on the show. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna see if I can bring this thing up. Well, anyway, a lot of people. I don't know if Black folks have been paying attention with this to Israel. To what's going on in Israel. A lot of our tax dollars go over to Israel. A lot. A lot. And a lot of people are noticing and questioning why so much money goes over to Israel. We're going to get into the conspiracies later on when we talk about the threat or the assassination of Candace Owens, because that's part of a lot of it. But people are actually having conversations about what is actually going on in Israel and the U.S. having their agenda. And a lot of times people don't pay attention, because we're busy, and a lot of times that the press itself don't discuss what is literally going on. So I wanted to play this so we understand when we give all this money to another country, and a lot of people are talking about, the Gaza war and genocide and everything. What are they talking about over there? Right? So I want to show y'all what they talking about over there. me see. Can we got it? All right. This is in the Israeli parliament, and this is what they talking about.
Accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu. I accuse you of the October Return massacre. The greatest disaster the country has known happened on your watch. Even if you sleep with a clear conscience, we will not forget. I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu, of funding Hamas, building terror, and turning a blind eye, the existential threat to us, abandoning the security of the state as a policy. I accuse you, Netanyahu, of turning the working and serving public into the donkey of the Messiah. I accuse you, Netanyahu. Your personal corruption has become a national plague. Every corrupt person becomes a partner. The bigger the file you have on someone, the more convenient they are for you. The trial of one man has taken an entire country hostage. Dozens of hostages were murdered and killed in captivity, while you did not fulfill the commandment of redeeming captives. I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu. I accuse you of the October.
So when we talk about our tax dollars going over to specifically Israel, and I don't want us to get it twisted when you say Israel, that you're attacking the religion with attacking governmental policies. And I think that's where people get it twisted and they get scared. But the Democrats lost mainly because of the war in Palestine. And a lot of people thought that Trump would actually end the war. But his attempts, it didn't really, because people are still dying. Now, this is what's happening over here in Israel. This is what they're saying. And the question should be, why do we continue to give all this money over to a country that the United Nations has already said they're committing genocide? The National Court has a warrant out for Netanyahu. So why do we continue to do it? Part is that a lot of our elected officials, and we discussed this before, a lot of our elected officials get money from Israel lobbyists. And this is breaking MAGA. This issue is breaking MAGA. I don't know if a lot of people don't pay attention. We played a couple of weeks ago Marjorie Taylor Greene and how she was saying how the pro-Israel lobbyists, how they make them take trips and they give them a lot of money if you get money from AIPAC, and that you have a handler, and they literally tell people that we elect what to say, what to vote for, and what not to vote for. Right? Marjorie Taylor said it. Robert Massey said it. And now they're questioning. And the sad thing about it is Black people, the whole Congressional Black Caucus gets money from AIPAC. And it's on their website. And it's on their website. And I'm going to keep talking about it because, as Marjorie Taylor Greene said, if you're in Israel, you get free health care. If you're in Israel, your college is paid for. Why are we giving $8 billion a year to a country and we don't have free health care? We arguing about it now.
Facts.
We have to, there's no free colleges for our children. This is our tax dollars. See, I don't want to get into, like, I really try to have these conversations. Oh, where'd my sister go? I really try to have these conversations because we need to really start talking about it as a people. I don't know where my sister went. Oh, hopefully she'll be back. We need to have these conversations as a people, because this is serious. This is what we vote for. These are the people that put in office. Oh, she's back. My sister's back. Oh, there you go. You know, we need to put in office. You got anything to say about it? Since you're back.
Right. This foreign policy moment, I feel like it's exposing America. It's showing us, or showing America, who America feels like is deserving of protection and who is collateral damage. Right. And the sad part is, you know what? You know when you have a superhero
Right.
and you find out they the villain? It's like, wow, I thought we were doing all these things here. And when I pull back the blanket, you're doing all the wrong things.
Right. Right.
So how, and this is just my question for you, right? Do you feel like America is supporting war? Because that's what it seems like. Every time we turn around, it seems like they're the instigator, or like I said earlier, the person that's actually putting the battery in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like this is America's comfortable role in this moment.
Well,
And it's sad.
No, they're choosing that role because politics works off money.
Mm-hmm.
And if we literally look at the history of our relationship with Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and the warnings from John F. Kennedy about the lobbyists, the warnings from Nixon about the Israel lobbyists, Gerald Ford, not Gerald Ford, the owner of the Ford, he wrote a book about the lobbyists and the power that they had. So if you just go through different times of history, it was always an issue about the lobbyists and their control with our politicians. It's more talked about now because we have social media, and the voices are more.
Mm-hmm.
But we also understand too, Netanyahu and the pro-Israel people in America, the Christian Zionists, which to me that's a cult. They're buying up all the media. They want to buy TikTok to control the narrative, to literally control the narrative, because right now I believe that our country is controlled by a foreign government, and that's Israel. You can't call me anti-Semitic because I'm not talking about the religion itself.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Star of David on my hand, and a cross, and a crescent moon, because I understand they're all part of the covenant. But we have allowed men in politics to break that up. They're all from the same seed, and that's Abraham.
Well, it's not anti-Israel or anti-Jewish to call out violence. It's pro-humanity.
Exactly.
And I think everybody's that. I would hope everyone would be that.
Exactly. But not everybody is.
But
right?
you know what is good? about this, right? The young people. The young people seem to be clearer morally than the elected officials. And that is amazing because they are our future. So if they're having this clarity so young, so fresh, 20 years from now, we might be having a different discussion.
Well, we are going to have a different discussion, and that's the panic. You know, that's the panic. And I hate to say it, young white kids are having the discussion more than young black kids.
Definitely true.
Y'all can think whatever you want to think. They're having the discussion more than young black kids are. They're understanding that now the average home buyer is 40, 45 years old. You get a 30-year mortgage, you're not paying that off till you're 80. You know?
But it's circumstances too, because white kids are not in survival mode.
Some are.
I mean, some of them are. Let's keep some of them are, right? But the ones that you're talking about, most of them, at least 85%, are not in survival mode. They weren't inherited to poverty, because most of us, it's inherited, right? Because we came out and y'all was already struggling.
Right. So, but it's all right. So the point that you made, right? Why aren't we paying more attention? Why aren't we paying more attention to how the system works?
Because we don't fully understand it.
True.
Right.
There's no need. Yeah, but we all got these now.
Step in a space, and it's not me making excuses, right? It's what you have. Even that, right? Because even that, I don't know, but even a cell phone, right? Even a cell phone. If I don't know how to validate the information that I'm gathering, or when I am researching the information and I'm researching information on my phone and then I'm addressing you, people like to look at people as if they got an issue and they can't talk. They got to look at AI. When in all actuality, all I was doing was researching the bullshit that you telling me, because I know I heard some bullshit, but I got to find some facts to back up the shit that I'm hearing from you.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, but at this day and age, I believe personally that we should not be we should not be so out of the loop of information as many black folks are. You know, and part of it is some of these intellectual Negroes that get paid by the establishment.
Talk about it.
Leads us in the wrong direction. And it shows us just the simple. I don't know if people knew what went down with the greatest example recently was with Joe Budden and those podcast people, where they basically told Mark Lamont Hill that he's too good to be on Joe Budden's show because of his degrees and all that other stuff that really don't mean nothing today. I hate to say it.
It don't.
And then Joe Budden responded the way he responded, which shook them all up, that they had to have a show with all the intellectual Negroes on. You know, and Thomas Sowell, one of our country's greatest Black economists, wrote a book about intellectuals and how they have failed the Black community because they have these great ideas with poor outcomes. And the condition of the Black communities throughout the United States is proof of their great ideas, poor outcomes, but there were no consequences to these intellectual Negroes. We keep voting for them. And, you know, right now with AI, what does a degree mean?
So let me just throw this out there. Is this a grudge? Because I know in slavery time, you were sent to the North. You had some information. You were supposed to learn some information and come back and get your people. And a lot of people didn't do that. So is it a grudge that we carried over the years to be mad at the intellectual brother?
No, it's nothing wrong with getting your intellect. Look, Thomas Sowell was one of the most lettered person that you could find. But he also understood in the intellectual realm, it's about outcomes. So you could be intellectual all you want, but if what you're putting out is not creating true outcomes for your people, then what are you doing? And this is noise. Right, we're putting out noise, but we don't. That's why I wrote the book. Right? That's why I wrote in my book, logical failure. Because we're in politics with our feelings. We're not in politics. We're not in politics for logical outcomes. Right? And I say this. These protest profiteers that are out here with police brutality don't want police brutality to stop, because they will not have a job.
That's facts. That is facts.
Right? So if you are really concerned, you're really concerned about the community and gun violence, cop gun violence is no different than a gun violence by youth.
That's how it should be.
But you don't come out for that. You only come out if there's a questionable police shooting from a police officer. You don't come out when a young 14-year-old boy, look, this, 2 weekends ago or last weekend, whatever weekend, a 14-year-old boy got killed in Chicago. Right?
Yeah.
We ain't hear nothing from AOC, Jasmine Crockett, all these other people that run their mouth about racism and fascism and what's racist and what's not. We haven't heard them talk about these young children being gunned down by each other. We haven't heard them talk about the mother that got beat up by children picking her child up in Chicago.
Well, the community was speaking up about that because they were rallying.
No, absolutely. But I'm talking about the intellectual Negroes.
No, they weren't.
Roland Martin, none of them want to have discussions about the cultural conditions of Black people that Trump ain't got nothing to do with.
But we lost our value. We don't see how valuable we are. Like I tell everybody, I believe each person is an asset millionaire. And if you cannot articulate your assets, your personal assets, how is anyone else going to look at you as value? Especially if you can't speak about it.
Exactly.
You talking about yourself. You got to talk your talk when you talking about yourself, but we don't. We have a lot of, in our communities, it's a lot of negative self-talk. It's a lot of, and it's a lot of self-sabotage too, right? That we carry, because the way I think about it is when my father was growing up, My father grew up on a plantation in North Carolina, right?
Mm,
So when he came to Staten Island, he couldn't be as great as he was, right? Because your parents tell you, I don't
right,
want you to be killed. I
right,
don't want you to be taken.
right,
And if you shine, if you outshine, if you show people you too intellectual, right?
right.
They use it
Hmm.
as a weapon. So we
That's
were
right.
taught over time to hide things, right?
Right.
Especially when you see a baby and you see a baby as a star. We don't, and I'm not gonna say we don't, because some families do, right? But a
Right.
lot of families don't. A lot of families, you better just go get a job. You ain't gonna be no actor.
Is that? Yeah. Yeah.
You're not gonna be no
Is
comedian. What you think? You Eddie Murphy? No. But Eddie came from Brooklyn. Eddie
right.
was right down the block.
Exactly.
Marlins,
Exactly.
they wasn't they from Manhattan?
Woo.
Marlon Wayans, that big comedy family. What wasn't
They
they?
lived in New Rochelle. Their home house was in New Rochelle. I used to live right
Yeah,
next.
I didn't even know.
I,
I
I
knew
used
they
to,
was from New
I used,
York.
I used to live right with my ex-wife. We had a house right next door to the Marlins, and once they blew up, I didn't know. I knew the mother and the father
Mm-hmm.
because they used to come and check the house. I never met the kids, but on holidays they used to always come to the house, you
Mm.
know, and have holidays there at that house. But um
Oh look,
yeah, no, they
grew
from
up
right
in
around here.
in Manhattan too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But then they had a house. But by the time I think Marlon did go to high school there. And I think my ex-wife told me Marlon did go to school but they live right next door. Right. Yeah, you know, they live right next door. And sometime in the summertime you could hear them out in the back, the family. That was a family, you know, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I used to see the father all the time. And but at the end of the day, we can be great, but we don't push it. And it seems like the way society is, especially young Black men, we really don't see ourselves as great anymore. You know, I don't know. I think that's part of it. I think that's just the plan, man. Uh, because it's just a goal, you know, just to keep us in the position that we're in, you know. So, I'm writing a couple of papers on the issue with the church, and I'm also, we're trying to figure out, like, how do we get the core back, right? How do we get the core back into the Black family, that we're just not so distracted about so much other things, that we get back to we get back to the norm, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because whether we like it or not, white folks want family structure. That's it. White folks want it. I mean, because that's why their community is it, because they still have family structure. We have to have family structure. And I'm not knocking anybody. I made my mistakes. We all make our mistakes. But when you get old enough to figure it out, you're like, you know, oh,
Mm-hmm.
damn. Yes, we can be great. We have the courage, our children, to follow the dreams, not ours. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. With technology, with what's going on with technology, and I heard somebody say it, this is the close that we're going to get the reparations. Because AI and the technology that's out there now is evening the playing field, and everybody is nervous. Everybody is not nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in the playing field. So you know, we have to really push our children to learn AI, because that's the future. I don't care. I don't care. You know, we got to push them to learn skills, you know, because that's what it is. AI is never going to look. Let me tell you something. AI is not coming in to fix my AC. AI is not coming in to fix my pipes, my drains. AI is not going to do electrical work in my house.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to get our children to think to the basics. The basics is what's going to make our children valuable in the future. You know, because a lot of these jobs they train us for they're going to disappear with AI.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally going to disappear. So we got to think of the jobs that's going to be valuable, and even civil service jobs. You know, I don't understand how so many ignorant Black adults tell their children not to take civil service exams. We didn't even get to any of the subjects, but the first one. But I'm still like, yo, like I'm sitting here, like I don't understand it. Yeah, and let me tell you something. Andre is in the green room, but someone told me, yo, you're gonna laugh at this. Someone said, yo, man, you move upstate, you moving with all these racists, right? You moving with racists. I said, wow, man, I'm moving up here with all these racists, man. It's crazy. So I go into the store with my uniform on. White woman bring a little white kid up to me, right? I'm standing there with my, yeah, you're right. I'm like, I go bladed. I get in that defense stance. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Right?
Not
said,
blade.
Exactly. I get bladed. Well, what we call in the jail is it's a position. You stay bladed. You stay half your body, just in case. You never.
I know what you're talking about. I said not the blade.
Yeah. You know, we always we used to leave word like, yo, stay bladed, stay bladed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just stay alert. So I'm like, and she says, what do you say to the officer? Little white boy says, thank you for your service, sir. I said, well, goddamn. I go, listen, if I'm in Mount Vernon, the mother tell the kid to spit on me. You understand? Because see, that's the difference understanding. I get it with the experience, but this is a job that you could take care of your family.
Hold on, Damon. You didn't give us all the context, because you ain't tell us you was in a uniform. I thought he was gonna come up to you like you was a rapper.
Uniform. See, I used to drive. Look, I never took my uniform off when I drove home, right? Because you ain't state trooper, you're not shooting me. You're gonna see a blue uniform.
Mm-hmm.
They used to say, oh man, it's dangerous out there. You know, make sure you take off your uniform, you know, blah, blah. Not me. Not me. When that state trooper pull me over, he gonna see the uniform. So it won't be no mistake. Mm-hmm. It won't be any type of mistake. Not saying it doesn't happen, because it has happened. You know, but at least I know that. So, but I would walk in Mount Vernon, I would go to the store in Mount Vernon, and people rolling their eyes at me. Going to white neighborhood, they telling their children to thank me for my I'm like, yo, this is insane. But that's the attitude, right? Never mind you make good money. Never mind you got benefits. I have 3 surgeries this year. I haven't paid a dime. Nothing. And I had 3 surgeries. We talking about healthcare and all this, but you get a decent job, you get a civil service job. You know, there's benefits to that. What the hell is wrong with people? Eddie Murphy from Roseville, Long Island. You got to put that in.
He got to add Long Island in there.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of black cities upstate, but people don't even understand that. But my point was, even though people might think it's racist, it's just a whole different attitude. I'm not making an excuse for any racist people, right? I don't care if you're racist as long as you don't, try to overstep my rights. You can hate black people all you want.
Mm-hmm.
But once like I'm pro-black, but I'm never gonna push my pro-black against your having your white power. You can have all the white power you want. But once your white power start pushing against my pro-black, you got a problem.
So you saying stay white over there?
Exactly. That's why I would never. That's why if I was alive back in the civil society, I'd be like, we ain't integrating with nobody.
Right. Facts.
Exactly. I never understood. You're gonna beat me in my head because I want to sit and have ice cream next to a white person. Absolutely not. Why would you trust them to cook your food?
They don't even. Let me. What kind of seasoning? What kind of seasoning?
Exactly. And listen, and this is not being racist. This is just saying, like, I never understood that. And that led to the downfall of the black economic structure.
Well, it's a culture thing, because I know a white person doesn't know what it smells like on a Sunday morning when your mama's in the kitchen and she's hot combing, your kitchen's out. Black folk, white people don't know what that smells like at all. They don't know what it smells like.
Exactly.
I can't even be like, hey girl, can you comb out that kitchen right there? They're gonna be like, what? What is that?
Right. He said with that Dax grease.
Exactly.
So, and you know what? We got to come back to that because I didn't understand why Michelle Obama was explaining black people's hair. It didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense. It didn't make, like, we have to stop. We have to, we really have to stop.
I heard that explanation too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We really have to stop. If you don't, like, but see, part of that is we don't have a foundation of institutions. We don't have a foundation of institutions, that we call our own. And this is not racism. This is just common sense.
Well, they did their job. They erased our identity.
Yeah.
Right? We looking for it. We still searching for it. It's people 80 and 90 years old searching for it.
Jesus Christ.
And so many, I don't even want to say stories, but we have been miseducated about a good 90 to 95% of the information that we received from our parents, from the community. I remember growing up, they said if you drink milk, it helps your bones. That's a lie too. That is a lie too.
Milk was in there killing black folk. We run around lactose intolerant, and they tell us to drink all this damn milk. And
for them strong bones.
Exactly. Milk ain't got nothing to do with the bones. We wonder why we got cancer and all this other stuff. Man, come on. Yeah, claiming Israel Native American ideas. So, well, yeah. We've been where the hell Andre go?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe pop back in. We trying to get to Andre. We up here. We ain't even talk. We only talk about one damn subject. for a whole hour. So we didn't even get to the 5 subjects I had planned to get to.
Well, this is a good conversation. Though.
Exactly. Where Andre at?
There you go.
He popped in.
He's there. He's talking, but I can't hear him.
Hello.
There we go.
Welcome.
Congressman-elect.
I was just in my office. I'm looking at bills. I'm just like every 5 minutes, like, what? Oh, what? so I had to mute it because I'm cursing out workers' comp and insurance companies and everything else, and so that's what I was doing. So excuse me, I'm back.
So, I was going to lead into a conversation when you said that, because you're a businessman. You're a businessman.
Yeah.
And the climate in New York politics, I know you're elected official and you're going to have to keep it politically correct. The climate in New York politics, as far as making businesses the bad guy in the conditions. Now, you just said, you look all the stuff that you were paying out, right?
Yeah.
As a business owner, how did you feel about that?
Man, I got used to it a long time ago. The thing about it, the more successful you become, the more bills you have, the more partners that you inquire that you don't want, like workers' comp, disability, that has the new family leave on it that you got to deal with. You got to deal with the unions. You got to deal with the bonding company, the banks, the loan company. Everybody's your partner. So you just got to get used to it. You figure it out and you say, listen, okay, people will sit back and they'll be like, oh, he's got a contract. It's for $5 million. Yeah, but I ain't getting that whole $5 million. You got to people, you got to pay staff, you got to pay all your partners. And then by the time you finish, you'll be like, this small check mine? But it's good though, because the key is I'm in a position that I'm happy to be in because I'm able to employ people. And it's just, even like, let's say you employ 5 people. Those 5 people it affects because those 5 people have families, that depend on you. So I can't afford to sit back, and I like it because it keeps me going in business, because you just continue to move forward, push forward, grow and grow and grow. And the key is to put as many people to work as possible, because that's what I say, because I have 2 folds as a businessman and as a councilman. And I know, as the councilman side, the best way to keep people off the street is by, putting them in a job, so it's a beautiful thing. I used to sit back and, I remember a friend of mine said the same thing, Roy. He said, we used to be like, oh man, I can't wait to get my check and my big check and all this kind of thing. And you were happy to get the check. And I was like, yeah, I just want to pay taxes like everybody else. And now I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay these taxes like everybody else. But you know what? It's a privilege though, and I couldn't see it any other way, because you get a chance to make a difference in the life of others, and that's what we live for. That's what it's all about.
That's good, my brother. Now,
I hear airplane passing by.
Oh, I don't know who that is, man.
Okay. Who's back? Who's the vacuum cleaner?
Exactly.
I hear big noise. Yeah, but go ahead.
I'm trying to save this layout here. Oh man, AJ, what the hell are you doing over there?
You put me here.
Oh man, AJ just popped in, and now I feel bad because I don't know if I could be up against Eric B and Rakim. Are they running? Are they running too? Is that a campaign shirt? Oh man, Eric B's my man, so I might have to jump on his campaign.
I gotta take AJ out for a minute. I gotta fix this here, man.
All right. Well, the noise is gone. The noise is
Yeah,
gone.
because AJ making all that damn noise. That's who's making all the noise. It was AJ.
It sound
AJ
like
saying no. AJ saying it's not him.
it sound like the blender
Well,
was going. I don't know. He might be making a smoothie, man.
all right, let me see. Try to switch this up. I had it right the first time. I don't know what happened. Update layout.
There we go.
There you go. All right. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Welcome everybody that don't know is Councilman-elect Andre Wallace, Mount Vernon. And
Yes.
I wanted you to come on, man, because
formerly known as Mayor Red Bottoms. I'm sorry.
Mayor Red Bottoms. Mayor Red Bottoms.
And you know what? I'm still gonna be wearing them because I don't feel no shame.
Well, should I ask about that?
No,
Ask about that story?
no.
Yeah, we'll tell the story. Listen, this Negro fighting in court, fighting for his life in court, just fighting everybody. And he did an interview. So he walked into the courthouse. He did the interview, said what he had to say, whoever was recording. So he's walking to the courthouse and his pants leg gets stuck in his sock, right? So he goes down, he reaches out, right, and he lifts his foot, right? And these Negroes in the thread, he got on red bottoms. He got on red bottoms. And then the hate began because you can't have nothing.
Imagine if he had Jordans on.
Exactly. So we start calling him Mayor Red Bottoms.
Oh man, yeah. But I feel no shame again.
Thank you, future Mayor Wallace, for making sure the seniors in my building had their turkey, ham, and chicken. Woo, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, we did. We did a lot of turkeys this year. We did 1,000 turkeys this year. I wanted to go higher, and we did some hams because there's some seniors that was like, "You didn't bring me I want a ham," so I had to go back. I couldn't have to go back and get a bunch of hams. I was like, "Let me order some hams and drop them off." And I don't eat ham and I don't eat beef, and I do eat turkey though, and it was so funny because some of our people are like, "What are you doing with ham?" I was like, "Assalamu alaikum, brother." I was like, "No." I'm not Muslim or anything, but still at all, I just don't eat it. I haven't eaten touch ham in God knows when,
Yeah. Well,
But
we
I'm
want you
okay
to come on, man. There's two things we want to talk about. First,
Yeah.
we want to talk about what is the condition. We hear a lot of different stories that's going on. Give an update on the people that were displaced by the fire. And then we also want to talk about the budget. What is the financial situation of the city from your perspective? Because I know you've been on the show, you've been a friend of the show for a long time, and there was a lot of red flags that you mentioned years ago.
Over a decade ago. We still having the same conversation, but nothing's changing. People are not changing. They're not paying attention. I've been saying this thing for a long time, and I've watched it go down a long time. And now we're at there's a saying: people don't appreciate life until the end is there in front of their face. Well, you know what? Our finances is now there in front of our face. So I guess people are now paying attention because now it's going to affect them really bad.
Right. All right. Let's start with the homeless before we get into that, because there's a lot of questions about that. What is the update on people finding shelter and the update on the mental health and the wellness of the survivors, man?
Well, I was there yesterday. They was having a meeting also because I went to drop up some food. Right now they have till Wednesday, 2:00. There's a notice for them to find some place to go because they can't stay in the school any longer. I don't know why I didn't go into that. But people are devastated because there are many people that don't know where they're going to go. They don't have any family. They don't have any friends that they can stay at. And they just don't know where they're going to be. Some of them are complaining that they're going to be out in the street trying to find some place to go. But I heard that they're going to bring in DSS, and they're going to try to help them get some kind of housing, temporary housing, and hopefully with the donations that's coming into City Hall. I don't have anything to do with that, but when they do get those in, hopefully they can give people money to help them pay their rent or first month's security and things like that to get in a place. But the problem is this: that was a rent stabilized building. So people were not used to paying the amount of rent that's on the market right now. So you're talking about somebody who was paying $600-700 in rent in a rent stabilized building. Now you're telling them for the same apartment they got to pay $2,500, and they don't have that kind of money, and they're not going to get in the building no time soon, because then I don't believe they're going to ever get back in the building, because the building has to be R&R, which is, we call it rip and replace in the business. They're gonna have to take those two top floors and gut most of the building, all the apartments, because the water damage. They got to take off the top floors, gut it completely, put in all the new beams, because the fire touched them, and the engineer's gonna have to go through every beam and make sure which one is good, which one is not, which one got to be moved, which one got to be replaced, sistered up, or whatever. So it's gonna take a long time just for them, for the insurance company to do an insurance claim on it. Then you got to see when the other people are going to put that building back together. It ain't going to be for about at least another 2 years at the earliest. It
Wow.
takes time. It takes time. And now think about it. They're going to want to put that the building back on. I hate to say it, but they're going to try to put it back on as market rate. It's right next to the Metro North station and walking distance and all that stuff. And they're not gonna pretty much let those folks back in. So they're gonna they have to find some place to stay, and all of those other people. I had a conversation with our county legislator Tyree. We were talking about it earlier today, because I was like, okay, why are we not negotiating with hotels for long-term stay for these people and putting them in that kind of hotel and stuff? It's not, Mount Vernon don't have any hotels. I think it got one now. I don't know. It got Fifth Avenue. It got like 5 rooms, but I ain't going to go into that. But you can go into Yonkers, you could go into the Bronx, you could go into different places. So at least you have a place for them to go, a place for them to stay, where they'll all have to fit in that hotel room. But at least it's better than being on the street, so it gives them an opportunity. And if you go and negotiate those things, even hotels, motels, whatever, they did it during COVID. It's no different. The mayor is, her background is a social worker. So she should know how to do this and make those negotiations and work with different communities, because there's a lot of communities we're getting an abundance of help from a lot of people, and the residents of Mount Vernon has stepped up tremendously. And I'm proud of everybody in Mount Vernon. They contribute. They came out. They did all the things. They donated food, water, clothes, money, whatever they needed to help, the fellow Mount Vernonites. And I'm very proud of all of the people of Mount Vernon, because I was looking at it and I was saying, this is how we need to behave all the time. This is how we need to come out for one another all the time, not just in a disaster when we come together. It's supposed to happen all the time on a regular. We'll have a better community for it. Everybody else does it.
I got an update.
So-
When I heard that you was over there and everybody started calling me about what's going on at our homes. So the Red Cross will be shutting the temporary shelter down on Wednesday, December 3rd at 2 p.m.
Yes.
They extended the normal 3-day shelter limit that they pay for. They're meeting with the residents. The people that were displaced and their families on Monday. It's a private meeting. The public's not allowed, and I'm not, the press, we not allowed. But they're meeting with because I asked that, like, I'm going to be there. It was like, no press, no public. It's just going to be with the people that there. So that's what happened. And they still got they still haven't even sorted all the clothes that they got at the Dole Center. They still getting loads of stuff in, but the Red Cross was paying for it. The city of Mount Vernon, we already know, ain't got no money. Who's gonna pay? Somebody got to pay for this. So Red Cross extended their 3-day thing, but now, you know what I'm saying? They're like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so even in them scenarios with a motel or a hotel, you know, during COVID, you had the government paying for it. Who's paying for it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't got money to pay for that, and I think that's a problem too.
See, you know what bothers me about that when it comes to I know we're broke, but we have OES, right? And in that department, it's supposed to be funded with emergency funds for these kind of circumstances, these kind of conditions for emergency. That's why it's called, Office of Emergency Services. This is an emergency and you can't give them service. So that is a difficult thing. We have to rethink how we plan for disasters and all. And I offered my help to others, and it just went over their heads. Believe me, I'm here to help as much as I can. I think I'm the only one in the city of Mount Vernon with a disaster trainer's license to train people for these kind of disasters. And this falls on the disaster. I've been saying, and if you go back, it's been the same thing I've been saying since we had the chemical spill on Fulton Avenue. I just say it over and over and over. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. It goes back to regular business as usual. But in the future, we have to plan for this better, because we should not be a community that can't help people in those kind of circumstances and in those kind of disasters. We have to be able to do something. We have to have some kind of fund to the side where you could say, okay, let's all negotiate and put them in hotels for 30 days while we sort out with real estate people where they can go, and with Department of Labor, at the one stop and all these things, trying to get them jobs, trying to place them, trying to make sure that they can get vouchers to go into some kind of apartment or something. These things need to be in place. We need to have a plan. And I've always been asking my same question every time is, what is our 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, 10-year plan? But we don't have a plan. It's crazy. We have a plan for nothing. Even when I ask about our plan for our finances, and you guys know how long I've been asking about the city finances. What is our plan? But we continue. I've been saying it for years. We're on the no plan, even though that's a plan, but the no plan doesn't work. You have to have a real plan with real numbers and projections. If you want to make this city work, you want this city to turn around, these are the things you have to do. That's why I came back, and that's why I ran again, because I want to be as much help on the council and work with the controller, work with the mayor's office to see if we can put our minds together and come up with some great plans to move the things, move the city forward and get the things that we need. It's important.
Right. Because you have to have some type of preparedness for disasters like this, right?
Absolutely.
And so on Wednesday,
yeah,
the people they have to go
2:00,
even if they don't. Oh shit! So let me ask you a question: was there any effort to make sure that these people get at least their security back, so they could have money? Like, have anybody talked to the owner of the building?
Yeah, well, that was mentioned. They were talking about having that conversation with the owner, and that it's the owner's responsibility now to handle that, for people to get back into their apartments, and that the city cannot hold the owner, back anymore. It's his property. You have to turn it over to him. The fire's out, everything is done. Now they just got to see if it's, what parts are, safe or what parts dangerous as they hand it over. And then it's up to the owner to work it out, for people to go back in the building, get stuff, do whatever they got to do, and return their their deposits and things like that, so that they could use that money towards being able to find someplace else to go.
Yeah, they're gonna need it. I mean, they're gonna need it, because not everyone, not everyone gets renters insurance, which that is something that people should always get, is renters insurance.
And it should be, what's funny, when my wife used to live in Larchmont long time ago, and when I know my cousins that live in certain buildings up north and in different places, it's mandatory to have a renter's insurance in that building. It's part of your lease. They tell you, and it's not expensive. It's not expensive. It was only about $20 a month.
Mhm.
Right.
$20
Exactly.
a month. You spend more when you go to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal and a couple of things. So
Right.
it's $20 a month to have their renters insurance. And if they all had renters insurance right now, we wouldn't be in this situation. We would be sitting back because the insurance company would be paying for them to be in hotels, paying for them to take care of their stuff,
Right.
paying for their losses.
Right.
Because some people lost everything that they own. They have nothing. Only the clothes they got on their back and the clothes that people are donating to give them. So it should be mandatory that
Is that
people have those things.
now you're going to be councilman next month? 2 months. Is that something the city council can pass as something if you're renting an apartment in Mount Vernon, that in the lease it should be renter's insurance?
Well, that's something I'm going to have to look into because I'm not an expert on that. I'm not sure, but
Right.
I know how it works. But I'm not on that side of it. But I
Right.
will
Right.
I will investigate it. I will look at it. And I'm going to start actually. Being that we're bringing this conversation right now, I'm going to start tomorrow and try to find out about it and look at legislation and figure things out and see how it works and call a lot of people and find out through attorneys and others if it can be done. So I'll find out without trampling over people's rights.
Right.
I got to
No,
see how it works.
exactly. Well, that it should be a condition of the lease, because it protects the property owner and it protects the renter.
Yeah,
If something like this happens.
I'll tell you what we can do that I'm sure of. All of these pilots that we're giving out, selling our city out to these developers, you should make sure when you're negotiating that pilot deal that that's part of the
Yeah.
contract, part of the lease. So
Yes.
you'll have a lot of say, you'll have a lot of leverage. All of those affordable, low income housing and all of that should be in the agreement when you're doing that pilot. Because
Yes.
we're giving them such a break. That's a small thing. Matter of fact, you could with the tax break that we're getting that everybody else got to pay, they might as well put that in the rent. Maybe we should
Envelope
get
it in.
them to pay for it for the people.
Mhm. It sounds
Right.
good to me.
Yeah,
Right.
because people don't have money. Things is hard right now. I don't understand why people are looking at this as if the economy is doing well. New York City is a 6 to 10 billion dollar deficit. The county is at 146, $147 million in shortfall. And where we are, we have no money. If we lose a box of pencils, we in trouble.
So I'm sorry, I'm laughing, man.
Yeah,
But
because at a moment we're gonna have to be like, bring your own pencil and paper to work.
Pencils are serious.
It's I don't mean to joke about it, but it's that serious. It is. But I saw it coming a long time ago, and I've tried to explain, to people that we have to turn the ship around before it's too late. But now it's pretty much almost too late.
So let's we had what is it? 2 weeks ago? How many weeks ago? Last week? When was
Last
it?
week.
Jesus Christ. How
Last
time
week.
flies. It was last week. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we had Brother Darren Morton on, and he was talking about the finances and everything. So from your perspective, right, as a former city council person, a former mayor, now reelected to a council position, where are we at with the finances from your perspective?
My perspective, I don't have a my perspective,
what's the budget? Well, your perspective on what the numbers are.
we broke. My perspective comes.
Come on,
It comes
man.
off the documents that I read that's produced by the city. I don't
Right.
produce those documents. I don't
Right.
do the audits. I don't do the budgets and the financials and all of that stuff. That's their stuff. So everything that I'm reading and telling people is from years of reading what they're saying. I'm not
So
saying this that we're
okay.
broke. Your
So
paperwork
how
is
do we,
saying that we're broke.
so how do we go from is that normal to borrow from the next year and you keep borrowing from the next year? Like I heard, well, we took money from the year before. Yeah, but how do you
Other
like? I don't. How do you do that? How did like?
other
I'm
yeah.
perplexed.
But it's done. Other municipalities do it from time to
Okay.
time, but they don't do it as constant as we are doing it. It's sometimes you have a shortfall, but we've been having shortfalls since I've been here for the last 10 years. I've been watching. Um, when you do a tan, okay, and do that tan, that money they pay it back in December because they pay it out of what they call the it's like money that's given from the state fund, state aid. So they'll
Okay.
get the state aid. We get about 7, 6, 7, $8 million state aid each year. Last year we got about $7 million in state aid. I'm not there. I'm just looking at what I see. But with their state aid, they'll pay that TAN back by the end of the year. So it's a short term loan, even though they're borrowing against next year's stuff. So they'll pay it. It's not like they wait next year and then try to figure it out. They do have a plan. But what happened, like even last year, we borrowed money, but with the state aid, we paid back, but we still have a remainder that is pushed on. So we had about $600,000 short of what we borrowed to pay back. So we still have that on the books and it just carries over. So
Right.
with all the carryovers is what's putting us into debt. You got 4 million, 7 million, 10 million, 20 million. All of that adds up. I know everybody says, okay, it's good to carry long-term debt and liability. Not really, because that also affects your credit rating and all that. Because if you look at somebody, and I'm a banker and I'm here giving out loans, and you come to me and you go, okay, I'd like to borrow $100,000. And I look at your sheet and I'll be like, hey, but you're in debt $100 million. Yeah, that's okay,
Right.
but that's long-term debt liability. Don't worry about that. No,
Right.
no, they're gonna worry about that. I'll give you the loan. I'll give you the loan because you have the assets, but you're gonna get the 29.99, which is the highest you can
Right.
pay in
Right.
interest. And that's what happens because your credit's not good. You're not stable. That's like the guy with the 800 credit is gonna get a 2% loan, at 2%, and the guy at a 400 credit is gonna get the 20%.
Right. Right.
That's where Mount Vernon is.
So
We're borrowing, money at high interest rates. Even the money that had to be bought off. That I'm looking at the stuff that Morton's putting out, and and the controller is very transparent, and that's what I like about it. He's telling it as it is. He doesn't. He tries to tiptoe around things because he doesn't want to offend people. But yeah, he tells it everything. He puts it out there, and a lot of people don't know this. When he ran the very first time, I told him, and you could ask him the conversation. I said to him, I said, Martin, do you know that you're going to have to be in this office for 10 years to start to figure it out and get it right? Because it's that much problems that the city have occurred over the years. And he said, yeah. And I told him, even when he ran again, I said, didn't I tell you? You got it. And people were saying, hey, we want to remove him because the $400,000. Okay, a lot of other municipalities had the same problem too. These Africans have gotten really good, and the AI folks and all that, in scamming people and taking money. But we got most of the money back. I think the city's only out about $70,000 right now because the feds came in. We recovered a lot of the money. See, people don't know that part. Um, and when you look at it, I can't knock him and blame him for that because the technology out here to rob people are incredible now. Now you know how it is, Damon. You use AI. You can get AI to use my voice and picture and everything, and you'll think I'm live on a video and be like, yeah, release the checks. just sign it. Don't worry about it, Jim. Release the checks. And they be oh, okay, Andre says sign the check. But that it got so good these days. So you can't knock him for that, because the amount of work that he puts in. He's up in the daytime when I call him. He's up with the nighttime. I see him running around all over the place. So he's working hard. And this is not an easy fix for anybody. For anybody. I don't care how great of an accountant you are. You could be the super accountant of all accountants. It still ain't gonna make a difference. You still got to deal with all of those steps. You still have to peel that onion back, all those pieces to find out where you are. And it's gonna take him, I'll tell you this much, 10 years to straighten it out. He's got about another 2.5 years before he finally gets on track, where okay, I know where this is, we fix this, and it's all now we can start running from zero. We ain't gonna run from zero finances because we broke, but we can start operating on a good level of understanding, and that's important. I think he's working hard, and his numbers are good. But those numbers, like I said, I don't blame him, because he didn't do the audit. He's just putting out the numbers that the auditors gave him. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm taking it off of. And he didn't run up those debts. The controller does not do the budget. The budget is done by the administration. It's the mayor's budget. And I remember when when Thomas was in office, there was one year where he wanted the budget really high and stuff. And this is the thing about the council. And people don't realize this because they don't understand the how it really works in the back end. The council is the final say on that budget. They got to vote on it or not vote on it. And when the mayor presented that budget, myself and Marcus Griffith, I took the budget and then I redid the budget and I cut out all that stuff and we brought the budget down under 2%. And I was like, there we go. We don't have to do that. And we did a very balanced budget and put it out. And we presented the budget. Now, when you present it to the Board of Estimates and Contract, the mayor gets a vote, the controller gets a vote, and the council gets a vote. So the controller's only one vote. So if he says, I don't like this budget, and even if he says no, and city council president and the mayor votes for it, it's official. So when we did it, we were able, because Deborah Reynolds voted with me, and we were able to pass the budget, which made sense, and it was better. Today, you got to remember, all these budgets under this administration is coming from the administration. It's not coming from the controller's office. All the controller could say is, this is how much money we got. This is how much the insurance costs. This is how much the retirement fund costs. This is how much. That's all he could do, is give you all the numbers. Because when I was doing the budget, you just go to the controller to get the numbers. You say, okay, how much is the health benefit? Okay, how much is this? How much we pay for that? How much for that? And then he'll tell you, well, it was 20 million last year, but it's 25 million this year. The insurance company raised the premiums. And then you have to balance all of that and put it together. So I always say, I don't blame the controller for what's going on. He's just one vote. But if he's voting along with it on what he doesn't believe is right, then that's a question that he has to, come to ask himself, because that's dangerous. Because if I don't agree with it, I'm not agreeing. Huh?
He voted no, but he voted no, but he was the one vote that voted no. The other two passed it. So
exactly,
they outvoted him. Yeah,
yeah. And this is the thing I talk about. See, I'm now reelected as a council person. I'm not there to go along to get along. I'm the checks and balance against the administration. They do the budget, they send it to us, we vet it, we vet all of the things. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be in lock and step with the mayor. This is not when you don't rubber stamp anything because you're hurting the people. You got to remember, you're doing something when you're rubber stamping for a few people and their enrichment or glorification, but you're forgetting the 90,000 people that voted for us that we represent. We represent all those people who voted for us as even as all those people who didn't vote for us. We are representatives at large. So we represent everyone. Those are our bosses. Those are the people we have to be held accountable. We got to walk in the community with integrity and hold our heads up and be transparent and be able to tell them what's going on, not just stamp anything and keep going. So it's going to be interesting because they know that I'm not that kind of person, you know. I'm gonna
So,
vet everything and make sure that whatever the people want and it's in the best interest and it makes sense. That's what we're gonna do.
so there was a question. Veronica said, "Let's go after the past and present elected officials that owe back taxes." Your thoughts?
Well, Veronica, I owe no taxes, no back taxes. I never owed my back taxes. You know, the worst I've ever have, and it's no longer on there. But I can tell you because I always I'm very transparent with whatever people want to know. You know, the Department of Labor freeze one of my accounts for $228,000 one day. I woke up, and after we worked through it and all. It came out to I owed them $11,000. So I paid them the money. That was it. But that's the most I owed was 11,000. But let me tell you something. When somebody sues in Mount Vernon and they freeze our accounts because they freeze it for double, like Gizzo did when I first came in office, and Deborah called me down in a panic. It's the worst feeling in the world when you get up and your bank account is frozen. So those people who don't pay taxes in the city, they'll get away with it because we're not doing anything. But my advice to everybody, don't owe the state or the IRS because you're going to wake up in the
No,
morning
no,
with
no,
a bad feeling.
no, no. You just you.
But
Listen, that's
we do need to collect it. And you know what's funny? I introduced the tax liens and all the collection stuff back in 2018, years ago, about 8 years ago, and they would not pass the legislation. They would not push on it. I told them that if we don't work on this, we're gonna have a problem. I remember I was in the debate and they called me I forgot what it was, a predatory lender that wanted to take grandma's house, and people were like, really, he wants to take grandma's house? No, I don't want to take grandma's house. I just don't want everybody in Mount Vernon to lose their house over a couple of houses. It's not
right.
fair and it's not right,
Mhm.
I want to ask you something. So when we were talking to the controller last week, one of the things I brought up was something that actually you spoke about since 2015, the tax base and the burden being on homeowners and building up the tax base by bringing in businesses. You that was something that you strongly believed in and were pushing for that hasn't really happened. So I wanted to give you a chance to speak on that and why that's important for people listening.
It's important because let me tell you something. First of all, Mount Vernon, about 88% of the taxes collected is coming from the homeowners. Only about 12% come from business, and it's probably less now because businesses are leaving. Holy Cow just got robbed again yesterday,
For
and
the second time?
for the second time, and they're not happy. They're very distraught, especially a lot of other businesses. So we're losing businesses, and businesses pay a higher utilization tax. We get more from business. See, when we build these low income houses and give away these tax pilots for 30 years and all this stuff, all we're doing is setting back our city 30 years because you're bringing in what I call customers. Okay, we're bringing in those buildings. They say, "Oh, we're building this to house and make it affordable for the people of Mount Vernon." No, you're not, because the people of Mount Vernon don't need all that housing, and especially with all these other buildings around that we can renovate and put them in. That's not the case. You're doing that because developers are making money, elected officials are taking money, getting campaign contributions. I say it because I haven't taken any from them. And I tell you that you could look at everybody's campaign contributions, because I don't want to be beholden to anybody. So I do it myself. But when you do those kind of things and you're building more and you're bringing in housing, all we're doing is creating customers for Yonkers, Pelham, Mamaroneck,
Exactly.
Newark, and everybody else, the Bronx, because nobody could spend their money here because there's nowhere to spend it. So the problem we have is when we did that survey with Harvard University, and it came through when Mayor Thomas was in office, it showed that at that time in 2018 that $397 million a year is spent outside of Mount Vernon by people who live inside Mount Vernon. So Mount Vernon is not broke when it comes to the spending. We just don't spend it here. So imagine what I've been saying for these years. If we can start to focus on bringing in the businesses, because if you want to go to the movies, you got to leave. If you want to go to have dinner, you have to leave. If you want to take your kids for entertainment, you have to leave. If you want to go to nice parks, you got to leave. You always got to leave Mount
Wait,
Vernon, spend your money.
elected officials, when they run for office, they gotta have fundraisers outside of Mount Vernon.
That's true too. But the thing about it, it's horrible. It's killing us. Because if we build those businesses, like I'm saying, and bring that downtown life and bring those restaurants here and all of that stuff that we can, if we develop and do this the right way. And I know they say, oh, we got to wait for the comprehensive plan to be ready. That's a lie. And you know why it's a lie? Because if you have to wait for that, why are you still putting up all these low income and affordable buildings without the comprehensive plan? So you can't tell me that's the holdup. That's the holdup and the excuse. What we need to do is focus on bringing in these businesses, so that they can spend the money here. Just imagine out of that $400 million, if we capture just 25% of what's going out, that's $100 million in revenue now in Mount Vernon. We're creating jobs. We're creating sales tax. We're creating income tax off of people's salaries. You have to put our community to work. The money has to circulate in our community like other communities 13 times before it leaves the dollar. Ours don't circulate at all. It doesn't. And all of the people who even have money here, and you got police officers, firefighters, DPW, they don't live in Mount Vernon because a lot of them can't afford to live in Mount Vernon, even with their salaries. And the other ones that do make a lot of money can't live in some of those buildings because they make too much to live in the buildings that you're building. So
that's the
what
second
you're
part
doing,
I want to bring. You're bringing me up to where I want to take you next.
yeah.
You talked
So
about making the foreclosed properties and properties that are on the city that owns now, making it available to the city workers. Making some kind of first-time homeowner to make it affordable or attractive for them to move here and now become stakeholders in our community. I want you to talk about that because Morton mentioned as controller, he can't make those changes that need to be changed, but you're going into the city council. So, but I know you spoke about this before.
yeah, I spoke about this about 13 years ago and was trying to get it done in 10 years ago and still to today. We have to be able to do those kind of things. All of those particular buildings and houses and all of that stuff, if you could take those things and you work it with the banks and you do partnerships like they do in many other communities. And I have a lot of people. I just ran into an old friend of mine up in Albany. I was up there last week, maybe 2 weeks ago for MWE Business Convention. And we were talking and he was like, how come Mount Vernon will not take our money? And this guy controls a lot of banks and all this stuff. And he's been trying with me for a very long time to be able to get those old houses, put people in those old houses, renovate them. The money's there. The banks want to give us the money. They want to make it work. But we just don't, we get in our own way. But if we can do that, fix those things up, give the firefighters opportunities, the police opportunities, DPW. It is more important that when you have a police officer living in your neighborhood, okay, you get to know those police officers, you get to know those people. they take more care of the community because they know a lot more. They could even stop crimes with conversations before a crime even happened, or an argument or a fight. When I grew up, coming up, there was a Dave. I always knew the officer lived down the block from me. And I know that anytime somebody, even when there was gonna be a fight, because back when I was growing up, we had gangs and all kind of stuff. And somebody be like, run to Dave's house, tell him that the black spades is coming down the block. So
Right,
you had
right.
somebody to run to and talk about, this one and the other gangs and the violence and stuff. But he would always show up, and we had Rich, who was a court officer, and he lived around the corner. And then up the block, we had another guy who was what you do, David, works in the jails. So
No, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore.
well, I know you retired, my brother. You ain't a correction officer anymore. But yeah, you have those people right there in your community, and it makes it
Right.
comfortable for the people in the community. It's called like the neighbor next door. We talked
It's,
about
it's
this
called
all the time.
it's called the officer next door, and for the
Yes.
firefighters, it's called the firefighter next door. They are government. This is what kills me. How do we have smartphones and are still stupid? You could Google it, and the websites come up. The websites come up. It's called it's called the Firefighter Next Door Program, National Home Buying Program. And then they have another website called the Officer Next Door Program. And it gives you all the information to get this program. Like, I don't understand how we are not on these programs. These are national programs. It doesn't take $150,000 to have your assistant to Google that.
You know what's funny too?
And
Why it's so important, Damon? And I'm gonna give you a real life instinct. A couple of years ago, maybe about 2 years ago, the house on my block, 2 homes over, caught on fire. And I remember the fire department. I never seen a fire department show up so fast in my life. They showed up, I swear to God, within 2 minutes. All the trucks was on my block. You know why? Because I knew the firefighters and they thought it was my house, and they know my kids, and that I have little kids in the house. They showed up like this. That's the relationship. That's when people know, because people, when they know you, when the cop knows you, or the firefighter knows you, or somebody, they know, okay, well, grandma's in that house. He's got a grandmother that's ill, that's doing this. I know him. And they're going to get over there immediately. It's a different urgency for those people because they're so connected by being neighbors, by being one big family. They know how it is. So that alone tells me how important those kind of situations are. That we know that we know who our police and firefighters and DPW people are.
Exactly. And
So
for
let
the
me ask
record,
you quick.
no, let me just say something. Let me just say something.
So Morton said,
I want to bounce off that.
Say again, I couldn't hear. Somebody, y'all both were talking. What?
Yeah, I just want to bounce off what Andre just said right there. For the record, for everybody that's watching, community policing is not policing programs for the community. Community policing is police living in the community that they serve. That is the true definition of community policing, not programs that come out of the police department to make everybody feel good. Community policing is police living in the community that they serve. And that comes from Dr. Jimmy Bell, the originator of what we call today of community policing, a black man. So let's not be fooled when you hear, oh, we're doing community policing. No. Community policing starts with police living in your community. Now you go ahead, AJ. I just want to make that clear because a lot of people don't understand that.
So when we had the controller on, he was mentioning there's something in our charter, there's some law or something that prevents the city workers from being able to get those houses that are in foreclosures and off that sale, and he can't change that.
So what? We're changing. So
no,
what?
But I'm mentioning it because you're going in. So that
Yeah.
mentioning,
You know, it's stupid. You're not gonna run the same car in from 1940 in the Indianapolis 500 that they run in today, right? It's gotta change. Those cars was top speed at 90 miles an hour, and you was zooming back then. Matter of fact, a Hugo does 90 miles an hour now, right? Ask the people in LA, you know. But when you look at it, you're talking about now it's 222 miles an hour. You have to be able to change and adapt. You know, it's got to change. So we can change it and make it work. And see, the thing about it, I'm a big supporter, and people sometimes get mad at it. I'm a big supporter of police. I'm a big supporter of firefighters, because when you're running out the house, they're running in the house. And when you got a problem, they're the ones that you call. They're running there against the bullets. You're running away from it. They're dealing with that stuff. And what bothers me a lot about when people say that is, listen, these are the people that put their life on the line for you. Okay. But instead, you get pissed off talking about, I don't want to give them a raise. I think they're making too much money. Our police already are the lowest paid police in Westchester County and around. But still in all, you would spend $200 to go buy a ticket to the Knicks game to watch them shoot a basketball. But you won't pay $5 to go to a policeman party to help raise money for them. Our brains have to be recalculated, calibrated, because we have to start to understand what our priorities are. Like with our school teachers, our children spend 8 hours a day with this school teacher, with this woman or man, whoever is in the schools. But yet we have a problem with giving them a raise and doing what we need to do to make their lives better. They are taking care of 1/3 of your child's life on a daily basis. How do you not take care of the people that take care of your children, which is our natural resources and our biggest commodities? I don't understand it. We have to look at ourselves and start to say, we got to get it together, because this is not working. The way it's going now, it's not working.
So for the record, that's something that you would be looking into when you get into office, about changing that so that our police and fire can get these houses and stuff to bring them into the.
Absolutely. I've been working on it for 10 years. You know, it's just how much more can I do? I try to drag people as much as I can. But we have to open it up and do these things. And it's not only police and all. Listen, it's our school teachers too. Right. You want the teachers most of our teachers don't live in Mount Vernon because they can't afford to. How could you?
Right. They make too much money to rent in the buildings, and then they can't afford it.
Which is very, very important. You think about how they shape our children's lives. You know, more than what's the name, shooting and dunking a basketball, or somebody throwing the football down the field. Come on, those are not the real heroes. The real heroes are your police officers, are your firefighters, is your school teachers. Those are the people, the DPW, the guy that shows up all the time to help you. Those are the real heroes. Those other people, they're great to watch on TV and all, and you'll pay $300 to go see them. But what is that doing for you besides making you broke?
You know, a true story. So remember, Andre, you might remember Damon when we were doing the Boys to Men program at Cecil Parker. So I went with my family and friends to IHOP. And one of the little boys was like, "Mommy, that's the man from the program that I was telling you about." And the mother came over and me. How more important was that if I was one of the teachers? For Mommy, that's my teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see him Sunday at the IHOP. You know what I'm saying? Like, those things are very important, and they build those relationships. So,
yeah, because let me tell you, our children, all of them, anyone that fails is not because of them, is because of us, period. And we cannot say the child got, today our excuse is, oh, he got ADHD. We need some medicine, or we need this, or we need that. It's not that. Maybe you need to parent. We need to parent. We need to go back to.
that
You know,
ADHD when you weren't paying attention.
listen, man.
My
Look,
mother
man.
had
Then
that
you
good
know what? You know
ADHD
what?
medicine.
You know what's a good cure instead of the medicine? Put the boy out there, let him play some sports, let him go into the chess club, let
Exactly.
him go. He have so many
Exactly.
things to do. His attention span, even if it's short, at least he'll be on the checkerboard, go to the chessboard, go play some pool, go play some ping pong, but he'll get
Exactly.
through it. You know, so we
Well,
can't just medicate our way into good children.
no,
So I have a
that
question.
has to be created. Go ahead, sis.
Go ahead, Lon.
So last week when we had the comptroller on, I was discussing community reinvestment opportunities with the financial institutions that are within Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
So I also heard you mention that, right? That's what you're talking about, the banks and community reinvestment as far as.
Absolutely.
So what do you feel has been the hiccup, has been the obstacle that Mount Vernon to this point right now has not even explored that? Because when I bring it up, I love the comptroller so far because he was so honest and he was like, I don't even have an answer for you. I don't.
That he is. That he is.
So
Yeah,
what do you
but
feel like is the obstacle?
the obstacle is, I'm just going to have to say it straight out. You know, I can't even find a nice way to comfort it or cushion it and all of this stuff. You need to elect people that know what the hell they're doing. That's it. You need people that know these things, that's going to work and do these things. You can't go on the friends and family kind of business where, okay, I know this person I went to school with that one. This one ran track with me. You know, the last track star, what happened in the controller's office. So you continuously do these things. You have to understand how business works. And I've been saying this for over a decade. Mount Vernon is a corporation. Every city, municipality, town is a corporation. You have to run it as such. Everybody who buys a home in this city is a stakeholder in this city. So you got to look at it like if it's the stock market. You're buying into a community when you purchase a home. You want to see that you bought that home for $500,000, and when you're ready to sell it, you can sell it for $1,000,000, not backwards. These are the things we have to do. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have a thriving and a strong community with the right walkability, with the right business places that people can shopping district and the people. And there needs to be so many programs for the children that you have to get them into. Because if they're not into a program or they're not doing something that we want them to do right, they're going to be doing something wrong with the wrong people. And then we're going to blame them. We got to blame ourselves because children come into this world innocent. They don't know anything. They're programmed. It's just like I tell people, people are not racist because they were born that way. They were racist because they were taught that. People who do things, it's behavior. So what we need to do is learn this, instill behavior modification into a lot of other people and work on our children and focus on our children because that's tomorrow. And if we lose another generation, we're going to have a serious problem. You know, because these are the kids that we have to take care of. Wouldn't it be better that you educate these kids, help them get into a job, do something constructive? When I was doing the construction program for like 12 years, the great thing about it was I knew it worked. You know how I knew it worked? Because I would train the kids. We would give them all of their credentials. I would place them in a union. I know that now they have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to get to work by 7. And by the time they came home at 4:30, 5 o'clock, they were too tired to hang out on the corner. So what they did was they went back home. And that's what their life was. And on the weekend, they had so much other things they had to do because the whole week they working. So it limits all of that. It makes they're not out there doing anything else. They're focused on their work. They're focused on their job. And the most rewarding thing I get to see is when they come back to see me, they come back to the office and they pull up with a brand new BMW. These are the kids that was on the corner hanging out. They pull up with their new Mercedes Benz. They tell me that they just got married. They got families. They bring their children by, you know, and it's the most rewarding thing in the world. It's better than anything you could ever imagine. But we just have to focus. If we all took one child and started focusing on that one child to make it the best, we would have such a community that's thriving of a next generation that we wouldn't have to worry about, my child don't come and see me anymore, and grandma by herself and this one don't have nobody to look over her or him. It would not work like that. We would become a community at whole, at large, that work together, that love one another, that know each other. These are the things we have to do. And we're running out of time because time is, my mother used to always say this, time is longer than rope. It's an old Jamaican saying. And that's it. We're going to get to the end of the line of the rope. And, usually at the end of the rope, it either ends and you're too far to jump or it has a noose. You choose. But time will keep going.
You know how like
Well,
thank you
for your words of Jamaican wisdom.
Right.
Say again.
You know how a lot of elected. Go ahead, Damon.
Yeah.
I said thank you for your words of Jamaican wisdom. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So I was saying, Larne, you know how a lot of elected officials, they tell you these stories and stuff. I can attest to when 2015, when Andre was running for council for the first time, and people would say you can put lawn signs on my yard. So he would come scoop me while he's going to these people's yards, and he's putting a lawn sign, and the people across the street are like, "Who are you? And why are you at my neighbor's house?" So Andre went across the street. He talked to them, and 5 minutes later, they were like, "Oh, you're that Andre." They had a knucklehead nephew who was in and out of jail, who couldn't keep a job, got into Andre's program, working construction, is in the union, making like $50 an hour, got married, and got a house now. They were like, "My whole family is voting for you." Like, this is the things he was doing through his construction program and all of that. And I know I used to work sometimes in the office signing the people up for him, holding it down. So, and 1 or 2 times he didn't show up and teach and had me holding, be substitute teacher too. I was supposed to be in the class. So. but anyway, but I seen these things though, like firsthand. Like, it's not something that he's talking about. He's done this, and he's helped a lot of kids in our community who normally couldn't get jobs. Hell, Damon's son went through the program and ended up working on 1 or 2 of the buildings that was being built in the community. You know what I'm saying? So I know this to be true. So I just want to say, like, a lot of elected officials come on here and tell them about all the things they've done, and ain't nobody seen it. I seen it firsthand myself. So
yeah, there's a lot of folks, as much. This is what I tell people all the time. You could do 99 things right, and you could do one thing wrong. And the one thing gets the airtime all the time. And I'm not saying I did anything wrong. I'm not saying that, but I'm human. Things happen. But, I was just having a debate like 2 weeks ago with somebody I've known for a long time, work at DPW. And he was telling me the reason why he can't support me and never support me because I was the one who shut down all the bodegas at night. And I was like, shut down the bodegas at night. Yeah, it was you. So we had a long talk, and I had to explain to him that was done by Lyndon Williams back in 2000, early 2000, before I even ran. That administration when he was on the council. And, then he asked me about these other things. He was like, what about the firehouse? You took the fence down. I said, yeah, I did take the fence down. But the part that they're not telling you is that I was going to put up a beautiful stone wall. So it looks like, and I have the pictures, the one in Mamaroneck and other beautiful communities. And it would be looking very nice and plant the flowers and the trees so we could bring up the community. Because people are a product of their environment. If you raise the environment, you raise the love and the affection and the spirits of the people in the community. You know how many people came to me when I took down the fence around the 5th Avenue parking lot and plant the trees and the roses and cut the bushes and prune it? But there's some people that came back and yelled at me with like, he's cutting the trees. No, I'm not cutting the trees. I'm pruning the trees. Now, if you go back and look at the trees, they're healthy and they're beautiful. So I say that to say this. When people are talking to you about somebody, okay, especially most people that have something negative to say, don't even know me, listen to who you're getting when you think about it for a second, because the person that you may be hearing that information from might be a hater, or got that information from a hater. And you sit back, and once I had finished that conversation with him, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna support you because all of those other people lied to me all this time. And he believed it. And people go around and believe things. They don't know half the things I do for the community because I don't talk about everything. A lot of times people put it on Facebook. It's not me who put it on Facebook. I might share it, but that's about it. But we do a lot of things. Nobody talk about, okay, he's put over 1,500 of the people in this community to work and in jobs and Con Ed in the phone company and everything. But they don't talk about those things. There's some people that work for the city of Mount Vernon now that was in the training program, AJ. And I don't say nothing because I don't want this tribalistic, very cultural type of city that we live in that's very vindictive to people need to stop. We need to stop the hating back and forth with all of this stuff because I can't even talk to those people and stuff. And I try to stay away from them because I don't want them to be penalized by the administration or somebody else or this or that. Because then they turn around, oh, you're one of Andre's people. No, he's not one of my people. He was just on the corner. I met him. He came into class. He did his program and he went and got a job. And you hired him because he was qualified. So what makes it different now because he knows me or because he came through my program? So those are the things we got to be mindful of.
So when and this is just a random question, when did people start making reciprocity a problem?
I don't know. It's been a long time. For some reason, ever since I got into politics, I think that's part of what got me into politics. And I don't see a problem with that when it comes to reciprocity, where you do for me, I do for you, and all of that stuff. But still, in all, I look at it in a sense that I can do for you. I don't look for anything for you to do for me. I don't need nothing in return. I didn't do it because I want something or need something. I did it because I care. And I did it because I want to see you expand, grow. The best thing that you can do in life is to be able to work with people and make them even greater than you. That is the goal. When you get to that goal, and I could see people, I want to make the next 100 millionaires out of Mount Vernon. That is a goal. Because if we bring up everybody, let's say I help everybody make $1 million. If I ever had a project that I needed, now I got 20 people I could go to ask for seed money to do my business. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make people better. You want to make sure that everybody is lifted because we, like I always say, we're not here for ourselves. We're here for the benefit of others. You may think that you bought that car because you say, oh, this is the car I want. No, you bought that car because you want to pick up girls. Okay? Women, oh, I bought this dress. I dress for me. No, you don't. You dress for the other women because you don't really dress for guys. Women dress for women, But those are the things we talk about. We go to work and we go there to put a roof over our family and over our children's head. Is that for us? It's not really for us. So people that think that we're living for us don't even take a time to step back and look and understand that we live our lives for the benefit of others. I run for city council and I'm working to be a councilman, not for myself, but for the people in Mount Vernon that need a voice because they got their everyday lives. Not everybody have the benefit to be able to sit on city council and do the work for them. So that's what we have to remember, though. It's work for them, not work for ourselves.
You're here. You're blessed to be a blessing to others.
Listen, it's not me. My blessings come from the Lord. So my guidance, my steering comes from my faith in God. And I know he's going to use me up because I always tell him, make me what you will. And he's going to use me up as much as he can until it's time for me to go. And when it's time for me to go, I want to look back and be able to smile and say, I made a difference. That's it. Because when we die, when the end comes, we came into this world with nothing. We're going to leave this world with nothing. Anything in between there, even if you made 10 cents, you're ahead of the game. You're on the positive side. You're doing good. So when we leave, though, we're not taking nothing with us, only memories and our moments. So that's what you have to make in life. All the money, all the riches, all the stuff, you ain't gonna see nobody sticking that in the ground with them. It doesn't matter. And I always remember, because when I was 22 years old, I got held up, and I was there with three other guys. And what was crazy about it was the guy wanted to shoot us, but the gun didn't work. So I understand at that moment in that driveway down in the back where we went to get the car in the dark alley, okay? When I was there, I never thought about anything else besides my mom is going to be so upset. What are my brothers going to think? You only think of your family. That's all you think about. When the end is near, you will see. Nothing else matters.
So when Morton was on here in closing, I asked him, we always talk about everything that's wrong. What can you give, as far as hope, can you give the city of Mount Vernon moving forward with you being in office?
Well, I'm here to give Mount Vernon everything I know, everything I got. I believe knowledge is supposed to be shared. If you learn something, pass it on to someone else, and pass it on, especially to the younger people, so they could continue to pass it on. So everything I have, all of me, is for Mount Vernon. So I'm going to give everything when it comes to the finances. I'm going to give everything when it comes to making sure that people are treated right, making sure that there's a balance, making sure that right always lands above wrong. And those are the things that I focus on. Life in itself, and giving the people of Mount Vernon the true balance that they deserve.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you being here. And my apologies in advance for the hate you're going to get because you were on here. But
and I'm going to get it. But it's all right, though. It's all right. Let me tell you how I get over it all the time. I just get over it. Because not everybody like Jesus Christ. Not everybody's going to like me or you. And look who he was. And they not only that, they pinned him to the cross. Anybody that's doing something positive for the community, there's always going to have people to say something about them. I could walk down the street and talk to 10 people, and I'm sure 2 people have something to say about Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Farrakhan or whoever. No matter who you think is great, there's always somebody that has something to say about it. And I'm not saying that I'm great or I'm not saying anything. I'm only human just like everybody else. I'm just like everybody else. I've just may have been able to see a little bit more, and I want to share that. I just came back from overseas visiting things, and those things that that I've seen and was able to talk to people, I bring back to our community. And that's what it's about. So we just got to continue to move forward together and work together. And Mount Vernon, if we do this right, we will be the city that, like I said, we will be the head again and not the tail. I moved up here 40 years ago because Mount Vernon was the head. And I've watched it turn into the tail of Westchester. We can reverse it. We can reverse it.
I never heard that before. I heard a lot of names, but I never heard the tail before.
Yeah, well, it's it. Yeah. Well, brother Damon, that you need to get into the Bible a little more. I ain't gonna get into that, but I'll let you know.
I know what you're saying, but I ain't never heard nobody say this.
It's true. I moved up here. When I moved up to Mount Vernon, I bugged my mother for a long time, to move up to Mount Vernon, because I said that's where I want to go. I want to live where the rich people live, because Mount Vernon was beautiful. I used to come up and I used to see the Clintons. I used to see the Cocas every year because my mother and everybody was great friends. I used to Clinton know me since I was like 7 years old. because he was one of them when my brothers and the other one talk about, you're too small, you can't play with us, go in the house, you can't go to the park, and they ran that line on me, when you're 10 years old, then I come back when I was 10, then when you're 13, at this point, I still don't think I'm old enough to hang out or play with them. I never talk about raise the age. Jesus Christ. I was like, hey. But I moved up here for that reason. And it was beautiful. And it's still beautiful. Because what we need to do, and I'm going to share this last thought, what we need to do is we need to look at Mount Vernon not for what it is, but for what it can be. And if we look at it that way and the possibility of what it can be and work towards that, it will be. And that's what I keep telling people. If you can't see it, we can't have it. I can see it clearly. We're going to get there. But we're going to have to get there together. Everybody, council with the controller, working with the administration, we have to do it together. That's the only way we're going to get there. And it's time to do that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, thank you, my brother. We appreciate you for coming on, man. Giving us words of wisdom, some Jamaican wisdom, and letting people know what is going on in Mount Vernon. I think that's, and good luck.
Oh, thank you for that. I look forward to serving the people. I enjoy it. So it's not a job. It's just something that you do.
If anybody has any questions and they want to contact you, how could they contact you?
They could go to andrewallace.com, andrewallace.com, and right there you can contact me through there. Plus you could read most of the stories I've been talking about for the last decade, and you could see some of you might think I'm Edgar Casey and these are predictions that should be in the Library of Congress, but it's not. It's just monitoring money and how it flows and seeing how it works, understanding it, and that's how we got here. People don't lie. I mean, numbers don't lie. People do. So
right.
Just always watch the numbers. Watch the numbers because they're gonna tell the story.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you, brother, and you'll be back soon.
Very nice to meet you.
All right. Well, you listen. Good night to you all. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It's been a long time. Been I don't know, 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I think I came in a few years ago or some years ago.
Yeah. It's been a while, but we know you'll be back to let the people know what's going on.
Always. Well, if the bosses tell me to come out there and tell them what's going on, I have to report to the boss. So that's it. And do the report. And like I said, those are my bosses. All right, sir.
All right,
take care.
You got it.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks.
Any last words, Linez and Damon?
Hold on, trying to get back to the screen. What happened?
Just kick me off. That's okay.
Oh no, I'm trying to.
See how my brother do me like that?
Yep, I see.
I use the screen. Well, look, man, that's the way it's going. Around with all this nonsense.
Just kick AJ off. Yeah.
Mess around with all this nonsense. I gotta change the screen, but.
So, any last words, my sister? This is what, your second or third show?
This is my third show.
Third show. Okay. You have survived.
Absolutely. And this show we ain't covered none of the stuff we were supposed to cover. Damon.
Nah,
it goes like that sometimes. We just go where the conversation goes sometimes. It's good to have an outline, but we go where the conversation goes.
But I really wanted to get into the whole Candace Owens things because the assassination attempt or the plot assassination with France, Israel, and the United States.
Well, they say keep leaving wanting more, so that could be an episode they look forward to on the publisher's desk.
Well, it's already there.
Oh,
but
okay.
I wanted to talk. Yeah, I wanted to talk. If y'all could go y'all could go. It goes deep in a lot of things that she was saying, and the fact that she exposed that the France's president Macron's wife was a man, and they tried to sue her, but the lawsuit got tossed out. So she's a man, and yeah, crazy. But it all ties into the whole Epstein thing, bro. Like it's really, this Epstein thing is going to be. I really don't think the feds are going to let out all the information, because document Epstein worked with Mossad. That's why he's dead, but his girlfriend's not, because her father was a big Mossad asset. And there are ex-Mossad agents that testified, that spoke about the connection. And it was a big blackmail thing. And if we understand, if we look back at that time, when they want to tie Trump to it, but remember, back then Trump was a Democrat. He wasn't a Republican. Epstein circles was Democrat circles. It wasn't Republican circles. And from the prince over there in England to a lot of other people, I think this is just global. It's up to Pam Bondi now. He signed the bill to release the evidence. So we're actually going to see what's going to happen.
Well, I'm getting ready to go back to vacation mode.
Yeah.
Shout out to my New York Knicks. They just won 12-6. I was watching the game the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without the uniform on?
Yeah. And look out for this. I'm in a couple of interviews that just running now. One in this London magazine. I put it on my page, and then we're going to be on llsrockthebells.com.
That's dope.
That should be coming out soon. Jaquan, shout out to Jaquan, and shout out to Brother Infinite Harold. He just received the award. I wasn't there to get to the thing, to the event, but there will be an article covering it though. So shout out to Brother Harold McCoy and the award he just got. And we'll keep you stay tuned with Black Westchester. We'll keep you informed of what's going on with the people displaced from the fire, and what goes on after that meeting, and what happens after Wednesday when they have to leave. And we'll be following all of that. I'm saying we'll be following all of that.
Well, sending my prayers. Definitely.
Exactly, man. I think it's I really think it's could have been done. It could have been done a lot better. And services and information should have been done. But let's see moving forward if the Mount Vernon elected officials and those policymakers learn from their mistakes and put things in place, because it's all about policy. You learn your mistake, you put policy in place to correct it. So let's just see what they do. We just gotta wait. We just gotta wait. We just gotta wait and see. AJ, if you have Mike Spano's contact, please reach out to him, and let's see.
Reyes contact for Mike Spano. I'll send you the number. Lisa Reyes. She used to be on News 12.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll reach out to her tomorrow.
Yeah,
because he shared the article.
Yes, I saw that.
And yeah, I want to have a conversation with him about that. I want to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation, and tomorrow I'll be calling Ken Jenkins' people to set a date for him to come on the show also, to talk about everything. Then of course we're going to disagree on some things.
I just texted you.
It wouldn't be me and Ken if we didn't.
Oh, absolutely. I just texted Lisa Reyes contact.
Yeah, it wouldn't be me. Oh, you did? Okay,
I
great.
just
I'll
texted to
call.
you. And
I'll reach out.
Ken.
I'll
Yeah,
reach
Ken.
out
We
to
need to
him.
have Ken come on. We definitely need to have Ken come on too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
No, because listen, man. Like, look, I'm a strategist. I'm a strategist, and those who know me, and if you are going up against me and you got a weakness, I'm going to exploit it. I'm going to exploit it to the point that you're going to have to just step back and try to regroup yourself. And I literally think, if these policies that um if these policies that Mandami is pushing, if these taxes that he's pushing, and the new thing that they're saying that you can't sell if you have, hey, Sister Margaret, how you doing? If you have, this is what these Negroes is pushing down in New York City, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a 3-unit or more home that they're going to force you to sell it to a nonprofit first before you put it on the free market. That's insane. That's insane. So if they low bid you, if they low bid you, then you're not going to get. That's crazy. So what is the most for Black people? You get these pieces of property to make business, to have business. That's a lot of people. That's their business, and they buy real estate. So now, if you want to sell, that's communism. Boom.
Well, plantation. Plantations, non-for-profits, in my opinion, are plantations. They were started by white women.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they only let Black organizations get but so far.
Exactly.
And maybe I'm not aware, but those multi-million-dollar organizations that are Black are far and few between. The ones that look like they Black, that handle that kind of money, aren't really Black.
Black Lives Matter.
You said it, I did.
I'm going to say it because that was just huge LGBTQ.
But that's true.
And I know for a fact, and AJ will tell you, I called them out and we exposed them. In Black Lives Matter, Hudson Valley was ran by an LGBTQ organization, and they had the nerve to come at me. They got the wrong Black man to come at because we did a rally for parents who lost children to gun violence. As my organization, Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, they had the nerve to attack me, and then they realized who they were talking to, because I went at them on Facebook and all over, and exposed them. Y'all not even a Black organization. You're an LGBT organization fronting as Black Lives Matter Hudson Valley on Facebook. That was a sham. That was a sham. And them women got all that money and nothing.
Well, it's Band-Aids on bullet wounds.
Exactly.
But I do have some closing words because I know you're trying to leave out, AJ. So
I'm ghost.
But look, man, listen, man, I'm just running my mouth. Me and Sis been just running our mouths. I'm just running my mouth. After this, I'm going to eat something and take a nap.
We have.
Me too.
But I just wanna burst some truth, right? You are not here to move through the world confused, silent, or afraid. You are born with a fire, a knowing, a power that systems can't contain and narratives cannot mute. Every week we come to this mic to remind you of what the world hopes you forget. That your voice matters, that your mind is yours, and your spirit came here with a bigger purpose than the chaos that is around you. So stand in your truth, walk loud in your power, and stay sharp, stay rooted, and stay unstoppable. That's all I got to say.
And as you said that, we out of here. Peace out, y'all.
Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today.